I love a good smooth wind.
We are back. You are chatting with John P. Today, I am going to be covering and doing a review on the best Audemars Piguet Royal Oak alternative. Here's the thing. Today, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak 41 wristwatch is incredibly in demand, especially in certain dial combinations such as the blue dial, trading well over retail price. But in my opinion, and the opinion of many people that touch watches and deal with them every day, there are some great alternatives. I am here to tell you that the best Royal Oak alternative is the Girard Perregaux Laureato. Now, this watch comes in a couple of different sizes and a couple of different versions, especially throughout history, but I'm here to talk about one of the most recent releases of this watch, and I'm going to do a full in-depth review on this watch under the lens and show you why it is the best Royal Oak alternative. But please do not forget the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And also, everything you see here can be seen also at delraywatch.com, so make sure to check the watches out there as well. So let's change the camera angles and let's get right into it. Here we have the Girard Perregaux Laureato 42. I actually really enjoy this watch. Originally unveiled in 1975, the Girard Perregaux Laureato was the brand's play into the stainless steel sports watch craze that originally existed. It's debatable as whether or not it was a craze, but the likes like Audemars Piguet and even brands such as Concord made plays in that space for the Genta-inspired or Genta-esque octagonal or polygon bezel watch. This was Girard Perregaux's play, and they brought in a designer from Milan, and he made it different than the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak in that he included an octagonal bezel on top of a circular disc, as you can see here, and this is very similar to the original. Of course, this is a 2017 recreation. This specific example is actually from 2019, new and unworn. That's why it's in pristine condition. But Girard Perregaux re-released this model and several other sizes in 2017 with the 44, 42, a 38, and a 34, including a ladies' quartz piece. This particular model has hours, minutes, central seconds, and dates. In recent times, Girard Perregaux actually released a perpetual calendar version of this timepiece with a blue dial. That's incredibly beautiful, but this is the one we have here in front of us. And actually, I'll put this down for 1 second because on my wrist I have a Laureato chronograph as well called the Absolute. This is a new series that Girard Perregaux has kind of been building out. Really great value on these as well. This will be in a future review, but it's very light, it's ceramic. I just want to take it off my wrist because it's kind of impeding here on this particular review. So I'll set that down and that will be in the future. Picking up the Laureato 42, I just can't stop. I'm just enamored by this thing. But running into back in the specs that it has, the case is stainless steel. It includes an anti-reflective sapphire crystal just hovering above the dial to create enough depth, displaying that beautiful waffle dial that you see in vintage and certainly the Girard Perregaux Laureato original model. The interesting thing about this watch is that it's 100-meter water resistant, so it's not a dive watch by any means, but it's more water resistant than the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, which is only 50 meters. So something to consider there for you guys or gals that love to get wet. When we flip it over to the other side, and of course this still has the stickers because it is unworn, so we'll be very, very careful. We need to catch a glimpse of this beautiful movement. Let me zoom in here. The Girard Perregaux 1800-0008 is an automatic movement running at 28,000 VPH, featuring 28 jewels, a Glucydur balance, Nivarox hairspring, eccentric screw for fine adjustment, as we can see there with that arrow pointing to it. Try to get a glimpse of that. Incabloc shock absorption, which is pretty normal for watches today, but it was a big deal back in the day. And of course, a 54-hour power reserve, which is sufficient, not as much as the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, which is a little over 70 hours, but in my opinion and in my experience, Girard Perregaux is very conservative with their numbers, and Audemars Piguet likes to kind of boast a little bit. So comparable, but there is a bit of a difference there. And of course, the finishing on the movement, and I should superimpose a picture over this so you can see a little bit better in the natural light. Côtes de Genève finishing on this gorgeous in-house caliber, along with circular graining and beveling. So a good mixture of brushing, polishing, as well as edges. And of course, the bracelet. I find the bracelet to be very great. Honestly, one of the best in the category, up there with AP and the Nautilus from Patek Philippe. The bracelet, stainless steel butterfly clasp, which is different than some brands. I think it works, but it doesn't have a flip lock. Some people like that. It's sufficient. It is a dressier sports watch, so it is pretty normal. And Girard Perregaux always really has used a clasp like this, so it's really in line for the brand. And it has the lateral push pieces to keep it in, as you can see there. Let's just catch a few more angles of this beauty. I could just look at the mixture of the flat waffle dial with that polished background of the brand name as well as the indices. Absolutely gorgeous. We'll give this thing a few winds as well. I always like doing the wind test. It doesn't mean a whole lot when you wind the movement. Some movements are just crunchier than others. Sure, there's a certain level of how well the movement's oiled and how many teeth are in the gears, but it's just something that I like. I love a good smooth wind. This is an absolutely smooth wind, but it's not entirely effortless like you might see in some of the Audemars Piguet calibers. You still feel a really strong connection to the movement, and maybe I'm crazy, but I really do enjoy feeling the teeth on the gears winding the watch. Otherwise, why wouldn't I just get a quartz watch, right? There's something interesting about that, and I know other people out there are probably shaking their head, but not everyone, because it is a little bit quirky. So everyone, hopefully you found this incredibly insightful, and also for those of you that are considering looking into buying the Royal Oak, but you just can't find the one that you want, maybe you'll consider jumping into a watch like this Girard Perregaux Laureato. I've personally owned Laureatos, including this generation, and I absolutely love them. I think there's a lot of great value there, especially when we're talking about a price difference of maybe $13,000, right? The retail on the Royal Oak 41 currently is just north of $20,000 US dollars, and the retail on this Laureato that we showed here is about $12,000, but they can be had new or unworn around the $7,000 to $8,000 mark. So there's a huge difference there, and the technical specifications are not that different, and they're really comparable watches, and they're great alternatives to each other. So something to keep in mind, and also something to broaden your horizons and really reiterate the fact that you don't need to have the most expensive watch to have a quality watch, and certainly sometimes a very high-end watch and Genta inspired. So let me know what you think about the Girard Perregaux Laureato below. I would love to hear it, as well as any GP fans out there. Love to hear it. Love to see others in the GP fan club. Thanks, guys. You have been chatting with John P. Ciao.